Alors, bienvenue à St Quentin. Bonjour, everybody. Hi.
Bonjour.
It's John and Mrs. John. An accident. Oh, you're referring to yesterday, Ronnie, then? Yeah, oh yes, blowout. So, yeah, that wasn't much fun. Made us terribly late, didn't get here till, oh gosh.
11.
Yeah, it was nearly midnight. We'd stopped for something to eat. But we're here now. So, Mitzi, yes, well, not so much car broke down as tyre exploded
On the M25.
on the M25.
70 miles an hour.
So just let me know if you can see and to hear me. Nobody's. Hello there, Leslie, from North London. Is the weather any better? It's a bit grey and grizzly and mizzly and whatever the French word is for that.
February.
It's February.
So I keep saying it's January.
It's February.
Today.
Hello, Susan. So yeah, it's that's kind of where we're at. Is that's the weather. So we're about on 5 o'clock. So what I thought we would do today is first of all just say hello to everybody who's on. So let's just quickly do that. Bonjour, ça va? Comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci. That's how are you? We're fine. I'm fine. So we've got, let's have a look. We've got Ronalyn is on with us, Catherine, and we've got Susan, and hello, Polly, and Nathalie joining us from the Netherlands. Bonjour à tous. Bonnie Stricker is with us. So if you want to show off today, put the odd comment on front. So just say bonjour to your fellow travellers. Jour, of course, means day. Journey means a journey would take a length of a day. So a journey, that's where it comes from, is a substantial trip that would take you all day. You know what a journey is? It takes all day.
Is good.
There you go. So Mitzi is on, Lynn Hall is on as well. So I think we'll get started because we are slightly up against it with the light today. But what I did promise you back in October, hello Sandy, or we promised you, Mrs. John's here as well, just give him a little wave there. Yep, fantastic. The famously camera shy Mrs. John. And so what we thought we'd do is have a look in the house. Now, I'm warning you, there's no light in there, there's no electricity, no water, no toilet. There's no a lot of things, actually.
No, it's got walls.
But now there's no carpet, which is great, because I've been in there ripping up carpet recently. Hello from Preston, Lancashire. Cheryl, lovely to have you on. And Aaron Bertham's on, our author, our in-house chronicler. And Marlena is on from Nova Scotia. So let's hope we can find a house that tickles your fancy today. We do like to tickle Marlena's fancy from time to time on these tours. So what we'll do is give you a context first, kind of where we are the street. Then we'll take you in. As I say, there's no electric light in there, so actually how much we can see and obviously how the signal holds up. We'll just kind of play it by ear. And then we'll go for a little walk in the neighbourhood and then into the city centre. And hopefully by that stage, dusk will be coming in and the lights will be coming up. And it'll look super cute. The only fly in the ointment, as you might say, is the rain. Il fait pleurer right now. So it's raining. So it's only very light rain. It's a drizzle or a mizzle if you're in Lancashire. Parapluie. So we need our umbrellas today. Il fait pleurer. It does rain. Strange language, French. No, it is raining. It does rain. Il fait pleurer. Right. So without further ado, we are on Place Sippy. Spelled C-E-P-Y, and the house for our sins that we have bought is right in front. So we're going to go down there in a minute. So we'll talk about as the architecture as before, but this is chez nous. This is our house. Nathalie there in the Netherlands. Don't challenge me to do any Dutch. That's definitely a weak spot. That said, I can always order chips and mayonnaise Amsterdam. Usually manage to do that. But so here we are, 3-storey, sort of classic. It was built in about late 1940s, just after the Second War. For those, we'll probably pick up on the theme again as we kind of go around. But St Quentin was basically smashed to bits in the First World War. For reasons we'll talk about before, we'll refresh on those. So this is the house. Let's go in, and you can have. I think it's a great frontage. It's got a kind of curb appeal, hasn't it, Susan? So it's a little bit tabby, a little bit shabby. It was a doctor's surgery in its most kind of recent iteration. Don't think it's been a family home for about 20 years. So consequently, it's a bit unloved. It's a bit kind of lino. You sort of get a sort of sense of it being a commercial premises. But first thing is obviously the door needs repairing. But were this better light, you would see that there's rather charming. What would you call it? It's not amber, is it? What colour do you call that? It's like an ochre yellow and a kind of deep burgundy. Deep violet. Okay. So yeah, when you call it, apparently we all see colours differently. So do tell me what you'd call those. I'm gonna say an ochre yellow and a deep burgundy. We've already got a picture of Mrs. John there that it's violet. But do let me know what you think. So as I say, I want to manage your expectations downwards and say it is a shell.
What have we done?
But it is very narrow door. Well, they're very slim, you see. You see, what do we say about the French? They can eat what they like, these French ladies, bitches, can't they? Yeah, and not put any weight on. So consequently, they need slim doors. So obviously, it's pretty dark in here. So amber and violet says. So it's lighter upstairs. So we're going to take you up there. But basically, the idea is at the moment we can't quite decide whether to just do it all out as one house or do it out as a basically series of apartments. Apartments. Thank you so much, Sean Cheryl. Idea basically will be kind of one on each floor, so you kind of get a sense of the sort of size and the scale. Hello, Casey, I'm joining from Nashville to join us here in St Quentin. So it's not St Quentin, which might look like it. It's St Quentin is the way they would pronounce it here. En français. So it's too dark to kind of take you down here. We'll take you upstairs, it's a little bit lighter, and you get a kind of sense of being ripping up roof panels there, so you can see they've been taking out today. So it's going to be a long-term project, this, to kind of get us to a stage. But one of the things that immediately caught our attention was, firstly, just really nice in size, but the second was the stairwell. And just really lovely, I think. You see kind of metalwork, obviously, very famous for its Art Deco, is St Quentin. It is a star. So we're a lovely staircase. Let's go upstairs and hopefully we'll be able to capture more light. The signal will kind of stand up and you can experience. There you go. How lovely is that? Unfortunately, it's replacing a single pane, and the French are kind of really hot on double glazing, environmental sort of stuff, you know. So consequently, you know, we've got to sing to their tune, as you might say. So come in here, it's a bit lighter. Let's say, here we go. So this gives you a sense. So this would be obviously again one of the apartments. So very nice and light. We've got 3. That's it, Susan, a clean slate. I think that's a really great way of putting it. I mean, lovely things like, you know, I absolutely love these cast iron radiators. I think they've got absolutely kind of charm coming out of their ears. But again, unfortunately, with kind of regulations and so forth. Thank you, Nathy. It's, you know, you're sort of swimming uphill, as you might say. Exactly, not a year in Provence, a year in St Quentin, except sadly, due to Brexit, 3 months is all we get. So we do a new book of 3 months cost of Brexit in brackets in St Quentin. Lovely big open windows. So I mean, again, I would love to keep the windows, but again, they don't kind of really meet the environmental standards of today. So there's something kind of slightly depressing about taking on an old house and then going, let's just rip all the old stuff out and replace it with kind of new, modern kind of performance-y stuff. But unfortunately, that is the way of the world. So obviously this will be, has been a bathroom. Yeah, I'll show you that from above. So again, it is, as whoever's a clean slate, you're absolutely right. It's just basically we're stripping it back and we'll kind of start again. So all this, as you look out here, all that horrible corrugate, that's going to be ripped out, so there'll be a really nice sized kind of courtyard outside. You get some nice kind of plants. We think there'll be a real sort of sun trap here. Because whilst kind of you might associate kind of Northern Europe with it being a cooler and damper, I'm sure Nathalie agrees from the Netherlands, it's getting warmer, it's getting sunnier, and in fact, a lot of southern and central Europe, of course, is becoming unbearable with the heat. So I think there's going to be more demand for people in the north and more bearable temperatures. But it's still not unusual to get into a 35 degrees sunshine over here. So as I say, once all that's kind of ripped out, you imagine real kind of nice sun terrace down there, some plants, maybe some palm trees down there, all kind of painted white. Going to be absolutely kind of awesome. Hello, Franz joined us from Canada. So give you a view out these windows, and we'll go upstairs. So lovely thing, of course, about French windows is, you know, we get to go straight outside and into the street. And for the next level up, we can see the cathedral, which we're going to show you in a minute. So you can see, oh, it's actually started raining, I think. Stopped raining. So you can see the street scene of where we are. So it's very much an urban. If anybody imagined that would kind of bought a middle of nowhere, time to kind of disabuse that notion. We are very much city centre, and the idea, of course, is to have it so it can be lettable for us to use as well, particularly over the summer, so June, July and August. But We'll just have from the top and work down. I think that makes an awful lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the, so again, we've got these lovely sort of stays that I was talking about that can turn metal. Just very classy, really nice, elegant wood. Pretty steep, but that's what you get, of course, with 3 floors. Mrs. John couldn't work a Green Thumbs magic. Absolutely, she will, Sandy. Sandy, she will. So this is our kind of latest thing. You know, that's the highlight. I'll wait for that. This is a wallpaper coming down today.
I've been busy evening.
But again, I think this is going to be a kitchen, probably. How cold does it get? That's a great question. So, I mean, obviously similar to kind of Britain insofar as it'll drop, country down to single digits, but not as cold, obviously, as Northern Europe by any kind of stretch. We're coming here, it's about like. It is definitely more agréable than the being Northern Europe. Now, tomorrow, we're going to start taking out this chimney. Now, apologies if this is your idea of architectural excellence. I can only say we're going to have to agree to disagree because I flipping hate it. And I can't wait to get my hammer to it tomorrow to start taking that out. But paint or paper? Well, Susan, what they do over here is kind of interesting. So in order to bring it up to, let's give you a little cathedral view. Yeah, there we go. A bit of cathedral out the window. So rather than painting and papering, basically what you do on here is, if you see my hand here, is you basically, you will put, there's like a metal frame that gets built all around the room. Then you put plasterboard on top of that, but behind the plasterboard, you've got very thick insulation. So consequently, it makes it, so it's much more kind of energy efficient. But also what it does, it means you can run all your pipe work, all your services, electrical, water and so forth, and drainage, all in kind of quite discrete areas, behind the walls. So consequently, when it's finished, it looks quite sort of very smooth and square. So no, none of this that you're looking at is going to get painted or papered. Rather, it's going to get kind of covered over. So it's an interesting approach to renovation, really, because actually the original house, if you like, is being left behind. What we're doing is, so the room will end up sort of marginally smaller as a result, probably, if you think maybe 3 to 4 inch strip all the way around. But yeah, it is clever, Shirley. It just makes it very tidy. And obviously then you've got absolutely billiard table smooth walls to start with because it's all kind of plasterboard. So you don't have the lumps and bumps and kind of challenges. So what you're looking at here will still be here when we're finished. It'll just be totally obscured by what's done. But I think that we've probably got as much value as we can out of this empty shell. There's a cellar as well, but it is so pitch dark down there. There's no light in here at the moment. That so, by the way, did anybody want to share any love for, or want to try and persuade us to keep this? Do you want to come and collect? Come over to France tomorrow and collect. It's yours, with my blessing. I'll even sign the brick for you if you like, but you'd have to take it out yourself. No, I'm joking. So again, what is nice, of course, is even there's no electrical light in here. It's coming into dusk now, but it's still nice and light. And I am an absolute light junkie. It's probably because my eyes are so bad that I absolutely love. And no papering, yeah. So we're just painting it, yeah. So I absolutely love light spaces because my eyes just don't react well at all. It is a very. Oh, thank you, Leslie. I knew that you'd share my opinion on this. So not as a peeling crack on there, but. But isn't the staircase fun? Cellar, yes, absolutely. Get all sorts down the cellar, Wine, serial killing, all sorts of things. There's a whole range of options open to us. There's Diane doing this. Hi, Diane. So yeah, that's probably my favourite kind of bit. And as we go, oh, I love that. Oh, that's going. Okay. Whatever you go, oh, that's lovely. Oh, they're not staying. You have to get really sort of mask your disappointment. The French are, to say they're the most romantic nation on earth, or at least they're famous for being the most romantic nation on earth, they are surprisingly unromantic when it comes to their own property. Most of it is bloody derelict, or half it's derelict. And when you do come to renovate, so here we are. I've got a much better sense now. So do we want to revisit on those colours now? You get a better sense, which I absolutely love. The odd dead body. I mean, who's going to quibble about the odd dead body, Leslie? Really? You think about how many people die every day? You're going to notice one more? That's my take, anyway. So love the round window. Yeah, who's Leslie? I remember through the round window. Leslie. What was that? Was it place? We're about the same age, Leslie, aren't you? I would think not too far apart. Was it play school that? Today, and for those that are overseas, I think I'm just being bizarre references. It was a preschool TV program, and basically they had 3 windows, and each day they'd have a random window they go through to have the story. I think it's beautiful as well. And again, they were like, "Oh, we'll get rid of that." No, you're not getting rid of that. So when it's restored, play school. Thank you, Leslie. So we'll go down Plaster because I want to show you this this roundabout. We've got a roundabout and a fountain into the street. And why wouldn't you have a fountain in the street? That's where I put it too. So you're not much older than me, are you, Leslie? Well, you know, you don't look it. It's a useful, stylish, youthful, stylish haircuts that you have from your salon. I know it costs you an arm and a leg, but how much can you pay for beauty? There's no limit. Mrs. John, there's no limit. There we go. So, isn't that nice, you see? So it looks like water. So we're going to sort of start your risk life and limb now to get you to the middle, because we are walking literally across the roundabout. But oh, you are a little bit older than me, then, yeah. Isn't that so cool? We'll get at the park in it, so I can't go much further. It's still a young If 56 counts as young, shouldn't we kind of queue for? Yeah, yeah. As with all these things, it's too much of too muchness, Laurie. Is that? So, have we got any lovers of frogs? Now, we don't want any racist remarks about the French here, but what we do have is little frogs that are spouting water, not switched on at the moment, so I think it's being serviced. But isn't that cute? So hopefully a bit later on, that will be switched on. Lovely. I think it's just the nice little touches, aren't they? You know, the French do stuff so well, don't they? Yeah, it is an absolute fixture, but that's a great point in mine. And that's exactly what it is. It's a project. And, you know, as a as a lover of France, there's something very, very appealing to me about first seeing more of a dog person than a frog person. You're a strange gal, Natalie, but we'll agree to disagree. Of owning a bit of France now and doing justice to it, you know, doing a kind of good job. On that crocodiles, yes, absolutely. So we've got a bit of plantain beds. What have we got here?
Pansies, I think.
Pansies. So where is your geography? We are in St Quentin, which is in north-east France. We are about 100 kilometres from Paris, and we're sort of stuck in the top, not stuck in, we're up in the top corner. So we are not too far away from Nathalie, insofar as that within kind of 3 hours drive in various directions, you can get into Belgium, into the Netherlands, into Luxembourg, and into Germany. Acanthus or thistle. It could be thistle, yeah. Yes, you must come and see us when it's all done. So we'll cross over, and we're now going to take you to our neighbouring park, which is absolutely fabulous. Just at the end of our road, we have the Parc des Champs-Élysées. But just so we kind of go down, we'll just have a little look at the street scene. And so just kind of a reminder, particularly for those that either have forgotten or haven't kind of caught the first tour that I did, Saint Quentin, because of its location, was behind the German lines during the First World War. Invaded in 1914, not liberated until 1918. So for the duration almost of the First World War, it was behind the German lines. So consequently, it was bombarded by kind of the Allies' shells and so forth. So it was basically a heap of rubble. And at the end of the war, they obviously decided they wanted to rebuild as best they could, but they decided they didn't want to necessarily create the old. They started to look at ways of embracing the new. So an awful lot of the buildings have, to a later or greater degree, lesser or greater degree rather, Art Deco emblems, feels. We'll point those out as we kind of go along, often in metalwork, in design, intricate brickwork, a mix of materials, in buildings and so forth. And because of the location, it being kind of not too far from Paris, so Parisian architects and designers and artisans kind of came over. Now, unfortunately, the whole thing was due to be paid for by reparations by the Germans at the end of the First World War, the Grande Guerre. But sadly, the Germans never really stumped up. They kind of crashed their own currency to avoid paying reparations, which is kind of a bit short. Yeah, so like everything was owed in marks. And then by the time the kind of Reichsmarks sort of came in to replace it after this incredible, you must have seen pictures in Germany in the 1930s, people carrying wheelbarrows full of cash to go shopping. So devalued was the currency that by the time the French could manage to cash their checks in, you know, they got about £3.50, I think, from Germany. So it wasn't great. So consequently, they didn't have to pay for it themselves. But nonetheless, they did a kind of sterling job and made it very nice. So okay. So we're coming up to the Parc des Champs-Élysées, which is the kind of central park, I guess you'd sort of put it really. And again, if you'd been here in 1914, you'd have seen Allied troops bivouacking. So if any of you, and again in 1918, American troops, if any of you, because obviously there's no buildings forming because it's all blown to pieces. Some fabulous houses around here as well. This is definitely the kind of des res where I live. Yes, Mitzi, it's about an hour, 10 hour 15 straight through to Paris. So consequently, we're kind of on the edge of the commuter belt, really. So it is into the Gare du Nord in Paris, the northern station, and it's definitely got a feel of sort of the Parisian avenues and openings. I think that's the thing is that, you know, when you get to rebuild again from scratch, you can kind of design according to principles, can't you? Rather than things like York is a good example of being something utterly organic. That, you know, building falls down, someone replaces it, but actually replacing an entire street is pretty rare. Didn't really happen until the kind of Georgian era. So we've got very, very sort of traditional French space here. Bandstand obviously in the middle, we're going to have a walk over the bandstand. And hello, Robin from Brooklyn's joining us. So we have
When we came in summer and it was just lovely and shady in here.
the Jardin de Horticulture, a growing garden and gardeners. Hope you're well. And a place for boule, for relaxing, for dog walking, cycling, exercise, activities. There's a school right at the bottom here, just at the end there. You might come to the rear of your picture. Mrs. John's scarf is lovely. So Sunny will give you a little...
Merci beaucoup.
Do you see Rose on here? The Rose the author, yeah, Rose the author's on here. I think so. It's R.M. Butham, our scribe. Oh, that was good. So you have to get this kind of hard surface in French rather than kind of grass. But yeah. So again, a bit simple bit of elegance. Pétanque, absolutely. So boule, is it a kind of thing? Is boule and pétanque the same thing? I'm going to get them both in the same shot because that looks kind of funky and French all at the same time. So lovely kind of lamp light. So hopefully those lamps will be coming on before dawn. It's also got like an artificial beach and everything. We're not going to go down there today because it's probably about a mile's walk from where we are here. But it sits at the kind of, it's a crossing of the Somme. So St Quentin was founded by the Romans. A basketball court just in the trees there. I'm not going to go up there and film the kids. But so it was a crossing place. Now so often when it comes to get a history and locations, when it can decide where to build, it's often about water. Either a place you can cross the water, or a place you can get access to water. So consequently, this is what was called a ford, so a place you could cross the water, the River Somme, which is very deep, with horses, was here at St Quentin. So it was established as a Roman city, a Roman kind of fort city, and they kind of been here ever since. Did very, very well at textiles, but it was also an important pilgrimage route. St Quentin. St Quentin was an important Roman martyr, so a very large bandstand up here. It's a lovely bandstand. Could be, shouldn't it? And again, we've just got lovely, as you know, the pleasure is always in the detail. Little fine touches. They're Harrogate-esque, isn't it? You know, we could sit right in the Valley Gardens, couldn't you? So again, nice, avenue, French word, or boulevard, another French word. And it's amazing, of course, you know, that once you start to kind of think about it, and there's a reason for that, of course, is that we share a language, most of us. Obviously, Natalie, not so much in terms of a kind of first language, but most of us speak English, and English is, of course, is simply a mangled version of French. And the reason for that is very, very simple. There's lots of German nouns, but generally speaking, it's kind of French. And the reason for that, of course, is we were conquered by William the Conqueror. It's not the same as the French, because France as a nation didn't really exist in that sort of sense, as you might say, at that time. The Normans, because they come from Rollo, who was a Viking, rather than a Frenchman. So we can't really, but that looks nice. We're going to see that with the turret down there. That's a nice looking building. So yeah, if with the money, we would have bought one of these kind of park front properties down here. Yes, it would be a nice place to get married, wouldn't it? Yeah, on the Bantam. So we're going to have a look at this building down here. I was trying to thought. Yeah, so it kind of starts a kind of Roman settlement, and it kind of grows. So it's since about the sort of 4th century, so 300 ADs around then. That's kind of its history. So a little bit younger than York, 200 or 300 years younger than York, but you know, nonetheless, it's been well established. Been here for a long time. So since English your first language, fantastic. Nothing. So yeah, so obviously it wasn't simply a case of we were conquered by the Normans. They also then brought their language. It became the language of the law. It's one of the easiest places to kind of see it. You know, so many of the legal words, magistrate, you know, arraignment, indictment, any ENT words, or Frenchement. In fact, if you take almost every English word that ends ENT or ANT, it's almost the same in French. Important. It's almost identical in that respect. So the kind of key to understanding a lot of French vocabulary is thinking, what's the English word? How's it spelled? Oh yeah, have a guess at that. And vocabulary. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be kind of too far off. So we'll have a look at the jardin, horticulture. So again, horticulture, a word that we use very comfortably in English. So, and this is the area, by the way, the Rose de Picardy. So we are in Picardy, and Picardy is the ancient kingdom. Now Picardy doesn't exist anymore due to a bit of the sexy world of local government reorganisation. It was abolished, I think, in 2016. But to many, kind of Picardy is still a kind of a romantic sort of proposition. It's a historic kingdom, going back to the time, of course, it would have its own rulers of Picardy. It's now kind of forms 3 departments, of which where we are in Aisne, spelled A-I-S-N-E, is kind of one of them. So, and the Somme district, so notorious, of course, for the battle of the First World War topography. But this is also very much part of the landscape. So significant action in 1914 and 1918 here. But as I say, for the most part, it was quite a long way behind the German lines. So it was a kind of a supply centre for the Germans. So let's go over that. We've got a historic arch. I haven't seen that before. So nice. I mean, obviously, as you'll know, if you joined kind of while we were still in the house, you know, it's less than 5 minutes walk from the house. So just nice, you know, to have, lovely really, to have this utility on our doorstep. So in terms of either people that might be our tenants, as students, or people coming and staying with us or ourselves, just to have this in summer, they're absolutely kind of delightful. It is, isn't it? And it's kind of, there's something very, very, I'm talking about this one, with the turrets, just very, very individualistic. That there's a boldness about design here that you don't always see. You certainly don't see anymore in kind of Britain. And the flourishes, if you like, are everywhere to be seen. Magnifique. So actually, there's a memorial over here which I haven't seen before. It's a Highlander. It's a really nice neighbourhood. So I say this is our little central park. Park, of course, same word. P-A-R-C. P-A-R-K in English is the same. So I say this vocabulaire. So again, here is, you know, a good example. You see the crisscross here of this, you know, excess of kind of design. There's almost kind of a more is more element of it. Obviously, there's elements of Gothic design within here in terms of the arches, but also we've got these kind of these deco sort of flourishes all over the place. So look at this house over here. Another great example of this, you know, how bold they are in the design. It's like the Adams house, isn't it? You know, if you remember. Such a thing. Hello, Linda. And there's just so many properties that leave you going, oh my God, that's just so cute. Really kind of just eye-catching. So this arch, to me, whether it's been moved here or dates from here, is certainly Norman. I know there's many of a fan here of Mr. Ian, who is, of course, a great purveyor of Norman doorways, the repeating arch, and also we've got Norman font. So I wonder if there was once a church upon this site, and this is all that remains. But you'll see, if Ian Braisby was here, he'd be saying, look at that Norman arch, look at that Norman doorway. So that is where we are. I think we'll kind of have a little wander back into the city. I'm not going to go over there because there's a bunch of people. So shall we go? Young couple there, getting up to all sorts, I would imagine. No, we'll go this way, I think. And it is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, I think, Fran, you know, and I've said this before, so I know it's no surprise for you to hear it, but, you know, parks are so important. A, because they're just for everybody, but B, if you're living in a flat and you haven't got a garden, in COVID, you know, how important we found the release was going out. And I know many of you are king gardens, so you've obviously got your own little plots of land or your own wind ledges or whatever it is that you've got. But even if you haven't got any of that, or you haven't got a green finger to save your life, or you've got 10 black fingers, there's something about a park, isn't there? You can just come down, sit down, you know, have a cup of coffee, chill out, read a book, laugh and joke with your friends, bring a guitar, whatever you want to do. It's generally public space, and in this kind of era where the world is increasingly privatised, isn't it? Gates are shut, can't go there, no access, you know, you've got to have money to buy your way in. There's something gloriously democratic to me about a park that just, it's for everybody, and I think that's kind of, and unfortunately, as we all know, and I'm sure, you know, we're not alone, so again, beautiful houses just straight in front of us. Linda wants a reading nook. And of course, a lot of the towns they built, of course, these cylindrical things, they were for, in the medieval period, originally where they kind of began, they're for embroidery and for reading, you know, because obviously there's no electrical light. And if you're doing close work, you know, having a little turret where you can have windows on 3 or 4 sides was incredible. You know, if you think you're sitting in kind of dark gloom and you're trying to do fine needlework or tapestries, the ladies of the kind of the house. So, you know, these kind of turrets were, you know, extraordinarily functional. They aren't simply artistic. They have a very clear purpose to them. And yeah, I don't know. It's hopeless, isn't it? You can't explain what it is about France other than just kind of show you at times and just go, you know, yeah, it's not Paris. Of course it's not. There's only one Paris in the world, and there only ever will be. But there's more to France than Paris, and of course the same is true, you know, of New York or London or any of these kind of major world cities, isn't it? Is they are, to a degree, they belong to the world more than they are kind of perhaps representative fully of, you know, the kind of local culture. Whereas this is northeast France, which is, Paris is kind of very much part of kind of northeast France, and is a very much kind of typical of a sort of smart suburban city. And the thing you'll hopefully notice, particularly if you didn't have the opportunity to see the tour previously, is when we get this into how clean it is, how well maintained everything is. It's an absolute joy to walk streets that aren't graffiti, that aren't just, you know, no dog poo in the streets. This is the way we came. Oh, we'll come back the way we came. So we're just doing a loop now, so we're just kind of past where we were. So hopefully you enjoyed looking. So yeah, through the location of St Quentin drove its kind of wealth, because it is on both the kind of north-south side. So even to this day, when you get off, as we did last night, the ferry or the shuttle, whatever you've got across, you know, if you bring a car, obviously, not flying, you're immediately on the A26. The A26 is the kind of road to Paris. And it's 5 minutes off the junction 10 of the A26. So consequently, you know, you've got that great, you know, historically, if you think about it, you know, it puts it in a great crossroads. I'd say it was a really important pilgrimage centre. Saint Quentin was a 9th century Roman, I think it was 9th century Roman martyr. No, maybe not 9th. Anyway, he's a Roman martyr, look him up. And you've also got another road which kind of runs east to west, so right the way across the kind of Finisterre. So if any of you that kind of done Normandy and across the further west into kind of the old Celtic areas, it's like their version of Cornwall, isn't it, Finisterre? So you've got two ways, you know, and also got riverways. So you've got the River Somme, which opens up into a huge lake here, but also the St Quentin Canal, which Napoleon considered to be, you know, the most important waterway in Northern Europe. So it's one of these places got a strategic importance, same as York, you know, because of its links to the Humber Estuary and so forth. So whenever you kind of get this geography of location, it tends very much then to you know, advance, if you like, the prospects of a place. And so it did incredibly well throughout the medieval periods, but the pilgrimage centre, a textile centre, and most of the land around this is extraction. So historically it was coal mining, so similar to kind of South Yorkshire and Kent and North East and so forth, where mining was the major thing. But of course, given the sort of environmental changes and so forth, that's kind of now being canned. But they've very much decided in France, they kind of do cultural-led kind of regeneration. So that's where they're kind of investing in, really, is kind of big. So where we were last time, we didn't actually get in. I'll tell you, sorry about this. Went to a place called Lens, so it's spelled L-E-N-S, Lens, not Lawn, which was near here, L-O-A-N, different place. So Lens, they've got a famous football team, Racing Lens, in the French Premier League, third at the minute. And they've got a Louvre there. So basically, obviously, the Louvre, like the British Museum, all these, has got kind of so much spare sort of stuff that never gets seen. They decided to open up a gallery. So we decided to go last time on the way home, because we're halfway between, you know, here and Calais. Unfortunately, we arrived there the day after, if you really picked up on the news, there'd been a big daylight robbery in the Louvre in Paris. So to say that security was tight is...
We arrived behind the school party as well.
Yeah, it's an understatement. So again, just such lovely classic French with the metal ironwork. Well, that's the balconies. But we're going to see lots of... So we're going to start heading into the city centre now, which is about 5 minutes walk, max. But again, lots and lots of nice buildings to catch a divertment. Lots to vendue, yes, the vendues for sale, like vendor. So the word vendor, of course, English, to sell, seller. Vendu, you see a sign. À louer is to hire. So if you see in the window, to rent, to hire, à louer. And if you see vendu, that means for sale. So if you've got money burning a hole in your pocket, I think this is one of the great upcoming locations. The reason is the location hasn't changed. And what that means is, whatever else happens, this is going to remain, you know, an hour, 10, hour 15 by train, and obviously kind of within driving distance of Paris. And as Paris and the Ile-de-France area gets more expensive, so people move further out. As Leslie, I'm sure, will have seen during her lifetime, you know, the property values where you are. Is it Hornsey, out in North London there, not especially central, but I suspect £1 million houses all over the place. Because it's just that spillover, is it? Nobody can afford to live in the centre, so it gets further out and further out. Of course, transport improves. So once you've got kind of transport infrastructure, you know, people go where the jobs are. So consequently, you know, that's what you've kind of got, that opportunity really is sort of growth based on the proximity to somewhere that's doing so well, the property market just overheats. So Paris is a great example of that. People can't afford to live there, they move further out. But the good thing about France is, compared to Britain, where public transport, price particularly train, very, very difficult to kind of understand how they can come up with some of these train prices. But in France, it's dead straightforward. You pay per kilometre. And that's it. It doesn't matter what time of day you go, you pay per kilometre.
Simple.
Simple. So that lovely building there, the Institut de Saint-Jean. Yeah, Leslie, surrounded by houses, 1 million to 3 million. If you don't mind me saying, Leslie, how much would they have kind of been when you were, you know, let's say in your 20s, you know, 30, 40,000 maybe? I don't know. I'm guessing. You're the expert, not me, on Hornsey. But, you know, this is what happens. So consequently, you know, you've just got this kind of constant elevation, and it just means ultimately that the people move further out and travel further, and we commute further. I mean, just the way of things, and nowhere to park as well. As if it's not a kicker enough that you've got to pay £1 million off for a house. You don't get somebody park in front of it either. So there we go. Such is the downers of kind of modern life. So that's why we think that this is a good investment, shall we say. Investment, French word. Quite nice, see? Lovely brickwork. So I think we didn't come up as far as this kind of last time, but we're going to wander into the... Look at this building down here. Again, you can kind of get the sense that there's probably a lot of Parisian architects, probably slightly lower level Parisian architects, kind of kicking around. No longer the money to live in Paris.
of important people.
And then just kind of come down here and just design. And I hear that. So this we hope, we're going to do this as a student place. And this is the Aerospace College. So Elisa Aerospace, so Centre for Aeronautical Engineering. And what we're hoping to do, less than 5 minutes away, is have students from here, is rent the house rooms 10 months a year, when it's all done out, into apartments, if we do apartments that is. And then we'll have it in July and August for ourselves for 2 months a year, so jolly handy, huh? So Elisa Aerospace, we love you. Okay, so this is kind of one of the main avenues down now. We're going to see the, well, I think we'll go into the square first and we'll have a look at the Basilica on the way back out, on the way. How are we doing for time? Good Lord, we've been on 40 minutes already. And I've barely even covered anything I was going to talk about. As ever, I simply open my mouth, words tumble out, and then I go, where did that come from? Fermele bouche, yes, shut your gob. I believe that translates to. But again, there's something about the French elegance that it's very, very hard to put your finger on. And I guess it either pushes your buttons or leaves you cold. I can understand why, either. Obviously, some people are brutalists out there that love concrete. Now, concrete actually was a major building material in Art Deco. They believed in modernism, in new building materials. So a lot of these buildings that look like they are stone, I guarantee you, it's all cast concrete. So again, actually, nobody's going to bother bringing stone all the way to kind of rebuild. The city after bombing. So what looks like a lot of stone building is, in fact, see here, look, you see that crack in the concrete there, the concrete facade? So concrete is very much a kind of building material that's associated with the Art Deco. Very kind of fashionable. So you've got metal, you've got concrete, you've got brick, you've got multimedia. And you kind of, even around the edges here, so you've got the sort of medieval style coins. So coins, what, Q-U-O-I-N-S, or look in the middle of the picture there, is where you get like a white or a kind of cream ring around your window. So obviously it was historically was a term of reinforcement. They were in effect like building a lintel around a window, but it really quickly became decorative as well, and people decided they loved the look of coins, so they kept them. So we're going to walk down, I think, into the, should we go and walk around the square? Yeah, we're going to walk around the square. The light, as you can see, is starting to come down now. So it's a pretty dark, grey, wet sort of Sunday. But I guess if somewhere looks nice on a dark, wet, grey Sunday at the beginning of February, think how lovely it's going to look come summer. So, you are a guide. Yes, that's what they call me. So again, look at the little dotty. So again, there's almost a sense of fun, I think. That's how I can describe it, really, in the rebuilding of St Quentin. That, so the La Poste down here is, so the one at the end, I think I showed you this last time, that's absolutely sort of classical. That's the Art Deco style that kind of most of us would kind of recognise, it's kind of straight lines. But again, you've got, and the clock is absolutely, 100% Art Deco. But as I say, Art Deco is a much broader palette than merely the bits, if you like, that have become. In fact, we'll go down this one and then we'll go down. Oh, about to get run over there. Try and remember not to get run over along route. So yeah, so you've got Art Deco is as much about sort of pulling together various strands from kind of various different periods of time, different kind of stylistic ideas all together. There we go. And the whole town, I think it is. The population is about 58,000, I believe. I think that's the latest estimate. As with all these things, getting a precise, up-to-date number. But I think the last time it was counted, about 2020, I believe, probably around the time of COVID. We'll go this way, I think. You get a first glimpse of the cathedral. So interesting, I was looking at this today, and this is something that definitely would not happen in York here. You see, we've got here this very, very modern apartment block. Now, the shape of it kind of gives a nod to the medieval, but what it does do by its location is it completely obscures the cathedral, which is most strange. You'd never get that in a million years in York. Not the building's fine, but they would never allow a sighting to obscure the minster. So it's kind of interesting, different sort of perspectives. We think of the French as being very much controlling. So here we are, the medieval basilica, very, very important medieval church, one of the famous 7 cathedrals of Picardy. But I think we're going to go to the city centre. We took it actually inside the cathedral. So again, if you're interested in a look, we might on the way back pop in if it's still open. But obviously, if there's a church service on, we don't want to, because it's Sunday. So we're a bit respectful and give people their distance on a Sunday. People ought to be able to pray without our prying eyes coming over them. So if Alex is on, Alex will meet you in that car park just over there on Wednesday. So lovely Alex Laporte, like Catherine, another of our resident painters, artiste, a French word, artiste, of course. So what we have got down here, which is super funky, and I would love to be able to go down there. I'm going to try and persuade the city to let me go down there and do a 360, is this. You see here, this it's actually a doorway, and underneath is a thing called Les Souterrains, the subterranean. And there is a series of very, very well-engineered tunnels and vaults. Thank you so much, Dan. That kind of run right the way into the city centre. And of course, this was incredibly useful at times of siege and warfare. And of course, was used by the French resistance as well to have a little nibble at the Germans, because they could get around and get obviously armaments and people and all sorts of things, could move around below the city streets. So I'd love to be able to bring you down there one day, but I suspect that the 4G down there is not going to be all it might be. So, oh, well. We can hear that? This is the town hall clock. So we'll show the Hotel de Ville in a minute. I'll just spin around. So we've got obviously the cathedral. Cathedral, of course, is a French word. Hello, Julie. I like your name. Was a nutcase. Formerly. Julie. Yes, we've got Hotel de Ville. So Hotel de Ville, you've got one in every, no matter how sort of smaller places like the Hotel de Ville. French is incredibly, what's that word, devolved in its political structures. So consequently, local mayors and officials have a great deal of power. I guess a bit like the States, you know, the kind of, although Mr. Trump is rather keen, isn't he, on taking some of those back at federal level, but we'll not get into that right now. So consequently, the mayor of the agglomeration, the council of St Quentin, who's up for election in March, is a big shot, and this is her place. So this is very quiet. Well, obviously it's January, February. This, by the way, down here is our local pub, and I haven't got permission to film there, so just on this side here, we were just there. We had something to eat in this pub. So the Golden Pub is. I'll just go around. So this is where we come. So we were here a few hours ago, and we had a very, very fabulous 2 or 3 hours ago, maybe. So not even that. We left here maybe 2 hours ago, and so this is. They speak Fringlish, as you might say. Now I try and speak French in there, but we had croque madame, so ham, cheese, Emmental sandwiches with ham and cheese and egg on top. It is. I'll talk about the Brussels thing in just a minute there. So I'm not going to go in because it's not unfair to sort of film people without their kind of permissions. But this is American bar. So if you're wondering, will I find at home? Is it a problem that I don't speak English? Not at all, because if you can go in there, it's a great pub, and it is like absolutely decorated from top to bottom. You've got every single kind of spirit drink you can imagine in there. It's a big kind of cocktail place, as well as draft beers and wines, and rum is their thing. So here's the famous Golden Pub. And again, I don't know this, but it may well have started with the Americans in 1918, because again, a great number of American soldiers were stationed here in 1918. In the autumn of 1918, just again a final push, the late summer and autumn of 1918, where tragically, obviously, an awful lot of people died, but the war ended in November of 1918, hence our November armistice and everything. So yeah, I think, was it Natalie mentioned there about the square? It very much reminds me of both the town square in Ypres, so again, a place in the first, what's it, the theatre, our little one's fallen over there. So we've got a theatre there right in the centre with the Roman kind of column style. But I'm going to spin you around in a moment and just have a look at the Croque Madame. That's right, yeah. We had one of those about 2 hours ago. Couldn't finish it. It was so big, and it was damn fine. So yeah, we've got the Hotel de Ville. Actually, we'll go a little bit further back and then I'll give you the whole kind of perspective. So again, just a lovely sort of square. So yeah, like Ypres, if you've been to Ypres in Belgium, it's spelled Ypres, but also like Brussels Square as well. But like a lot of European cities where you've got like a major marketplace, Munster, not too far away from kind of Natalie, kind of northeast Germany. Oh, look at that, the lights just come on. How pretty is that? So we organised that with the town council, and they've come through in spades. So let's just give you a little panoramique. Panoramique, of course, being a French word. I don't want to hear your French. Ronnie, they'd love to hear you try. I think that's the thing here, you know, is that we haven't encountered any anti-English sentiment whatsoever. I mean, it may well help, of course, that, you know, you go literally 10 minutes in a direction and you've got cemeteries full of English boys that died to defend and liberate this place. So that may well be kind of reason. But isn't it lovely? Shall we just... let's kind of walk around, but let's go up and try and show you a little bit of the... there you go. So I say this is... so again, this is a rebuild. So like so much of Europe, reconstruction, it was smashed up and was getting meticulously kind of rebuilt. So you think, how was 80% smashed and then this is still standing? The answer is it's you know, it's been damaged, but it's kind of been rebuilt and obviously brought back. Which is like so much. In fact, if you go to a lot of cities, they actually have a line. When I went to Munster in Germany, I was working for the council at the time, like a Twin Cities thing. There's like a line that's about kind of maybe a foot above the pavement, and basically that's a rebuilding line. Anything below that is the kind of the original and the rubble, and anything above that is being rebuilt. But it's being rebuilt with kind of such care and such attention that you know, it's very difficult. And inside here, which again, hopefully that's something I can bring you at some point, is the most delightful Art Deco council chamber. It is an absolute wonderful, beautiful site, isn't it? We went on a tour, and it is, yeah, it's second to none. It's sublime. So again, how much detail? It's quite nice, isn't it? So you see, it's the same stone as York, which is absolutely nothing's going. Plans to go to Paris this year. Busy place, Paris. Not for everybody. I mean, I love it. You know, Paris is Paris, isn't it? You know, what are you going to do? And what's nice is, and please don't tell me I said this, you know, you can see it without a blur, which is kind of nice, because our wonderful friend with the beard in Paris, who we love dearly, seriously we do, doesn't half seem to cling on to Zoom, and it's fuzzy 720, and everything kind of goes with it. Zoom is dead. Zoom belongs to COVID. Yeah, get YouTube. I mean, I'm looking at going to 440, 1440, but 1080 HD now. And to me, the future next, you know, is live in 1440. 720 is finished, which is to persuade flow, just to bloody embrace modernity. But you know, the French are stubborn, aren't they? You know, but that's because obviously they've got this fantastic culture. They're not like anybody else, and they cling on to it, and so they can be, you know, frantically annoying at times, but absolutely wonderful and fabulous at the same time. But as I say, you can be absolutely wonderful and fabulous and in HD at the same time. I don't see the two as being mutually exclusive. Perhaps that's me. My tech head at heart. We've got the statue of Anton Lecoyer, I believe he's pronounced. We'll go have a look at him in a minute. We'll go through the gardens. But isn't it fun? We did him last time, do we? Oh, we'll just have a quick look at him again. And then I think, well, what time? Yeah, we're coming up to the hour. I'm not sure if somebody's on after me, so we'll have a wander back up. We'll have a quick look around the outside of the... isn't it pretty? I love this light. I mean, I know you're all fans. It'd be blue, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? But it's obviously just too flipping grey and wet today, really, to have a meaningful blue hour. But isn't it lovely? He's holding Crete, is he? How nice. How nice. Oh, Giverny. Do you know, we went to go to Giverny once, so we got really close. We went to this to try and have lunch. We went to this 3-course lunch, which was absolutely fantastic. Guinea flower, I can't remember where else. We were so full and half drunk, it must have been. By the just like we couldn't even sleep, and then we realised that it's shut, but we kind of missed it because we spent so long having our lunch. It was literally like, you know, lunch down here, and then you kind of drove down. It's like in a chateau. It was absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. And sort of sitting in this incredibly grand room, brought you know meals, you know, where they lift up the silver platter. It was beautiful. In fact, the waitress slapped me for lifting up my own platter. This is absolutely lovely. There's Anton Lecoyer. who has a museum here named after him. Obviously, that's not him. That is a fiberglass rendering of him, just to be clear. But isn't that lovely? St Quentin. Love the square in the back. Tricia, fantastic, lovely. So we'll walk on. We'll go and have a little walk round back towards the cathedral. The cafe, as you can see over here, French word, a cafe. Restaurant, French word. Tarpaulin, French word. Grand, large, French word. So you might not think you know French, but actually you know flipping loads of it. It's just stringing it together. But what we're kind of so you know we see up here. I don't know if you can see on that building there. 1922. You kind of just you know that is obviously when you know this was substantially kind of rebuilt. So we've got 1922, 1926, that sort of period. So everything Dutch word cafe. Yeah, and again, I mean the thing is as well is what we now see as national boundaries, largely sort of come to sort of tribal boundaries, don't they? Which are often much smaller than the contemporary countries, and that's sort of been part of the challenge, hasn't it, in Eastern Europe as the kind of Soviet Union, Yugoslavia. And so they've broken up, they've gone back into you know, a million little pieces. These very, very kind of small states, which are essentially you know, tribal states, really, aren't they? Because they're based on different kind of different groups of people. So this was much, much smaller. This agglomeration kind of gets broken up, and you get these sort of small countries instead. So you know, France was you know like so much of Europe, you know, a place of tribes that become kind of kingdoms. And so they've all got their own individual. It's really cute, it's really safe, it's really clean, it's near Paris. People are friendly. They don't mind the English here at all. We've not encountered any sort of anti-English sentiment at all. Got a beautiful cathedral. And the property's affordable here. I mean, it's more expensive than quite a bit of France, but it's not at all bad, really, for what you get. And infrastructure, 2 hours by car from Calais. So, you know, there's an awful lot to like. The Chateau at Chantilly, yeah, I mean, Chantilly's as usual. Chantilly is stunning, near Paris. Yeah, as Mrs. John was just saying, that this town last year would never been, and now we've been, what, 5 times this year, 6 months? Something like that. Something like 5 times. And obviously, you know, a lot of that has been to do with the boring, legal, stodgy stuff, you know, of obviously kind of purchasing. So again, you can see a really kind of marked contrast with the cathedrals. We'll have a little walk around the outside rather than go inside, because I think Sunday evening we'll leave them. Okay, but you can see the pale stone is obviously what's kind of been built, you know, since the repair work done to the 20th century, and the older stone kind of around the sides, you'll see, is obviously the original medieval. So it kind of gives you a sense of what is original and what is excuse me, what has been replaced in the renovation. And you know, they didn't really have much choice, really, I say, because you know the sheer amount of armaments, explosives that landed on this town was immense. Particularly once the Americans were kind of set up nearby and were just firing huge kind of 90-pounder guns, you know, at the town, and for good reason, of course. This was a German stronghold. I mean, I'm not saying for a second, you know, we should feel sorry that the Americans and the British did that. You know, they did it in order to bring about the end of the war. But consequently, as you can imagine, the destruction wrought was incredible. It was at 80% was flattened. So that's what you're starting. It really was as kind of close you're going to get to a kind of clean slate as possible. So again, how nice and clean. Look at this. You see how the streets? I don't know where anybody's kind of joining us from, but these are as clean, I would say, of road streets of anywhere that I can think of. We've not got graffiti issues. We've not got lights just come up. Fantastic. We truly are blessed tonight, aren't we? We're getting the they really are coming through for us. The agglomeration in the lighting. Got a fairly low battery on my phone, so I think we'll just have another 5 minutes, and then we'll let you go off to wherever. So you can see right up at the top there. Isn't it fab? There's no rubbish. There's no rubbish. There's no graffiti. There's no, you know, problems. You're not really getting lots of people that are obviously got mental health issues, you haven't got drunks and drug addicts on the streets. I swear to goodness me, this is as safe a place as I can think of. You know, and just walk around, you know, with, so is it Art Deco St Quentin? So for those sold it to us, those that are into kind of Art Deco, you know, this is La Poste here, the post office, very much. But going back to what we were saying here, now if you look at that doorway, now we talked, didn't we, about Ian Braisby. If Ian Braisby was here, he'd be deeply confused now. We're going, oh no, I want to say it's a Norman doorway, but of course it's Art Deco. But it's taking ideas from the past, it's reinterpreting modernism. It's the art decorative. The decor isn't one thing, is it? It's decorative styles. What can we merge together to create a new vocabulary of kind of design integrity? For a skinny house. Oh yeah, skinny house. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you talk about how skinny the doorway looked, Leslie. Just wait till you see this house. We're kind of trying to work out where and if you put this kind of staircase. Yeah, we're going to kind of dig in more, and obviously as the work progresses on the house, we're going to bring you updates of that. But what's nice as well, of course, is, you know, we're not just in St Quentin. We have got so many fabo places nearby that also want to take you. So a bit like, you know, going around taking various places in Yorkshire, there are various places in Picardy that I would love, and not love, will really enjoy sort of taking you to. So I'll just show you the doorway here. Then look at Skinny House, then we'll walk back to Place Epi, and we'll leave you to the rest of your day, whatever it is that you're doing. So great, everybody could join us. Lovely green light coming up. So obviously, as the day goes on, or the night goes on rather, these colours will become more and more vibrant and resplendent and striking and all those kind of things. And but look, yeah, here's the Skinny House. So you work out, where's the staircase go? Is it a ladder? So there we are. Look at the house in the middle there, the brick house. Quite how that is a livable property, I am not entirely sure, but there we go. It is just about 10 foot wide, isn't it? But obviously works for the owners. It's just nice how the lights are coming up. And the next time we come, we'll go back to the cathedral again. But I'd say I don't want to do that on a Sunday because I think it's just respectful, isn't it? But let's have a look at that gate. We should definitely allow people to be able to worship in peace without us sticking our nebs into their business. So, lovely bit of metalwork here on the gateway. Only for thin people, absolutely. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everybody who's joined us. It's absolute delight to have you. I don't know if there's another tour on you nipping off. It's now 6 o'clock. Of course, if you have places to go, do go there. I'm just going to walk us around the rest of that cathedral. And by the way, the other thing is, and this will really make you sick now, Leslie, right? Parking, you can park here in the city, right next to, and bear in mind, York is the exact opposite. Is you can park here next to the cathedral for 4 hours for €1.60, which I guess is about £1.30 for 4 hours, right in the city centre. And you still, but you still get, look at this, the streets shine. Have you ever seen where the streets shine? I mean, look at this clean. It shines. Look at it. It is. I mean, I've never seen where it's clean. I want to employ St Quentin cleaners. You know, go to New York, get it sorted out. It is absolutely. You know, I've never seen anywhere as clean as this, which is lovely. Yeah, so the renovation will come on. Obviously, it's going to take time, and you know, the first bit won't be the most kind of exciting, but it's a nice flying buttress shot there. The exoskeleton of the cathedral.
First bit is just stripping it all out, isn't it?
Stripping it all out, yeah, get it back to the bones. And, oh, the cathedral garden's open, that's nice. It looks like it. So, a little potter through the cathedral gardens. There's just something, isn't it? It's just lovely, isn't it, about church and old stone buildings. So this is stone, by the way, just in case you misinterpreted what I was saying earlier. This has not been built out of concrete. This has very much been built from... That's a great... Now we're getting a bit of blue out, you see. There's that light's coming out. Liking that. Like that. Yeah, Linda, it's all about details. It's the small things in life, isn't it? Is it not the little things in life? Who says that? I don't know. But I mean, isn't it? It's the small things that bring us the most joy. You know, it'd be lovely to, you know, have enormous things in our lives and things we're hugely happy about and great successes and wonderful things and, you know, all that. But in reality, for most of us, You know, it's little things, isn't it, that make us happy. Sometimes just people being nice to us, being considerate, smiling, talking to us, recognising we're there, knowing our name, remembering when we're not there. That's what I always like about this community. It always seemed to me that if you could create a community where people would notice when you're not there, that's something that's missing from modern life. Far too many people's lives are led in isolation, not by choice, simply by circumstance, either by loss of partners or people moved away or whatever it may be. But having a place where people know your name and they remember you and they ask after you and they notice when you're not there,
That's beautiful.
that seemed to be an incredibly valuable thing. And I know for a lot of people, you know, a lot of the guys, I'm not going to say name names, but it was all about how much money can we make and what can we do. And say, well, yeah, of course. But to me, you kind of, if you do the right things, you kind of get rewarded for it, if that kind of makes sense. If your motivation is good and pure, and you exist to try and bring quality of life to people, you know, then I think that as and when people can, that they do say thank you. So, I mean, that's not saying, please give me a tip. If you wish to have done, fantastic, thank you very much. But rather, there's more to it than that. And I think, you know, if you start with good motivations, good things happen. And I think that there's too many bad actors on the world stage at this moment, both in our country, in your country, wherever you're kind of watching for. You know, I know that, you know, there are those that are looking to rip apart Canada right now. It's not simply Mr. Trump and the Americas. Yeah, we're just coming straight out, aren't we? There's a lot of people that claim to have these answers, but they always seem to be about them, don't they? They always seem about the rich and the powerful, despite... Oh, Buzzy. For YouTube? Hello? YouTube? Merci, monsieur. It always seems to be about them and their kind of millionaire mates at the end of the day. It doesn't tend to be about little people that just live, you know, ordinary lives. They get impacted by an awful lot of this. Actually, that's this way. So, as I say, I'm unashamedly on behalf of the little guy, the little gal. Always have been, and don't care. You know, not bothered about sucking up to the rich and the powerful. You know, just look after ordinary people best you can, make a difference, smile, acknowledge people's presence, give them value, make them feel seen and heard, and you know, understood. And what more can you do? I think that's pretty good. So everybody seems to be calling it a day, disappearing off on various things. So don't worry if you're one of those. We've just got a couple of minutes back to the front of the house, but I thought quite nice to kind of show you. And again, these residential blocks again start to take on more character in even Carpe Diem. Indeed, let's seize that day. But some days, you know, we shouldn't feel pressure to seize every day. Some days it's all right to feel, oh God, I can't be asked. You know, I don't want to do anything, but I still want to connect and I still want to, you know, feel valued as a person. And I think that's hopefully, you know, where these tours can come in. So, you know, if you can't face going up outside today, you can still be with other people. And I can't think of anything that is more valuable in this kind of fractured and divisive society now, of bringing people together with no other motive than simply to say, come and enjoy an hour in our company. Myself and Mrs. John, as we kind of walk around this city, and you know, we're strangers here too. We've been 4 or 5 times now, but ultimately we're outsiders. And that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? We'll make each other insiders in a world that likes to shut us out. That to me is what virtual travel is about. I don't know whether that's what John and Liam, but you know, that was their business. That's gone now. But what I am about is just kind of extending that reach through and keeping us connected.
We'll keep knocking on that door.
Keep knocking on that door. So there we go. That's a particle broadcast on behalf of virtual touring. And I say, other guys might say different, and that's their prerogative. You know, it was probably misunderstood early on. I was there trying to corral and herd cats rather than be in charge of anything, because everybody always stayed in charge of what they did. So as you'll know, some people, you know, will charge for their stuff. Some people don't. Some will require tickets. Some people don't. Some are on YouTube. Some aren't. You know, so everyone was kind of doing their own thing. It was really about saying, if we could find a way to make it easy for you to find each other and find our stuff, that was job done. Now, obviously, we overreached a little bit in terms of trying to go too far, perhaps down the advertising and marketing. But, you know, you have to try these things. But in reality, I think we've succeeded. You know, we still chat to each other, we still know each other, we still care for each other, we still miss each other when we're not there. And so that feels to me like mission accomplished. So again, very near the house now. And isn't that just glorious? It is, and it's not simply the guides that, you know, the guides is, we provide a camera, you provide the community. And, you know, we can't do, we're the best one in the world. And, you know, do you know what? I'm not going to lie. At times I look at a video in York and I think, God, it's not that great. And it's got 300,000 views and my best stuff's got 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000, whatever. And at times you get disheartened. But the reality is they've shot that, they've edited it, and they've never really connected with anybody. So if mine has only been seen by 300 or 400 people, but those 300 or 400 people have all felt a sense of energised because of a community because of it, that's got to be worth as much, hasn't it? I think. Maybe I'm kidding myself because I'm just jealous now. I wish I had 300,000 views. I've never had it, I don't know. So you can't really miss what you haven't got. But there's a massive pecking order in YouTube. And I find this over time because my channel hasn't really grown. The people in York and, you know, 3,000, you know, they get kind of niggly because they're trying to protect their thing, their museums, their things. Look at this, by the way. If you're into insects, wine o'clock. Definitely. Not beautiful. So we're just going to come and finish outside our front door so you can see how close we are to La Cathedral. So we've got the park, I would say, over on our right side. I'm glad that you enjoy that, Fran. And Fran, of course, you know, our thanks, you know, as a very active and compassionate moderator on the Facebook group, does a kind of sterling job. And, you know, I'll say it before, I've said it again, I wish there was one calendar. I wish there was not that one Facebook group, but I wish there was one calendar so it was easier to find it all. And hopefully one day, perhaps it needs to be somebody other than me. Maybe I'm just too, you know, associated with Together Virtually. I don't give a damn which calendar it is. We could fold this together virtually one and just go with one of the other ones, as long as it's all in the same place. But it does seem that there's still quite a lot of bad blood on this stuff that needs exercising for reasons that I don't really understand. A lot of water's gone under the bridge as far as I'm concerned, but for others, perhaps not enough time. So I do hope that perhaps when we're talking this time next year, when I'm bringing you here and seeing the finished article, that will be under that kind of one calendar, one group. You can but hope. So there we are. We've done a kind of nice loop, and there you go. That little personal connection. I think, Sandy, I think it's important, isn't it? You know, because at the end of the day, you can go on YouTube and you can see Paris. And I'm not putting Paris, but it's just first one's around. You can see New York. You can see London. You know, in high definition, there's beautifully edited videos. This isn't about that. This is about connectivity. It's about sharing places, isn't it? And yes, of course, there's some knowledge. I've barely told you anything today in terms of actual knowledge. I've just told you what I like and what I find it interesting and engaging. So it's not about a history lesson always. It's about exercising connectivity and saying that there is a validity in being part of this. It matters because you all make it matter. So anyway, there we are. Outside Plus Epi, we've done a big, big loop. I do hope you've enjoyed that.
And it's raining.
It's definitely going to be wine o'clock. So from me and Mrs. John,
Au revoir.
we're going to say au revoir.
Or bonsoir.
Bonsoir. And Leonie joined us. She's one of the worst guides. No, I'm joking. Leonie's one of the US. Leonie's one of the number one asset in this community. After me. No, I'm joking. So, she's third after me. No, I'm still joking. Leonie, if you're on, it's a delight to see you. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.